Hey guys, so in my last video I got a few questions on why we left Vegas and moved to Idaho, and it kind of made me realize that I didn't do a very good job of kind of explaining the whole backstory with that, why we moved, why we left Vegas, all of that. So I thought it would just be helpful to make a quick video kind of going over all of that. Obviously I am still a realtor in Nevada and in Las Vegas, and so I talk a lot about what it's like to live in Vegas and why you should move to Vegas, why you shouldn't move to Vegas. So honestly, there is part of me that kind of didn't want to talk about this because I felt like I shouldn't talk about, you know, all of the cons about living in Vegas and what I didn't like about living in Vegas, because I mean, it's my job to help people that are moving there. But then I got to thinking that I just don't think that's right, and if it were me, I would want to know about the pros and the cons of somewhere that I would be living. And I know that I've kind of done that with Vegas. I've made a video about pros and cons, but I've never really talked about why personally we wanted to move and why we ended up moving and why we left Vegas. So I thought, I don't know, I just felt like I should make this video and I should just be honest and kind of talk about the whole thing. So let's just jump right on in. So, honest conversation with you guys. I just want to be honest about why we decided to leave Vegas, and just some of the things that we didn't like about living there. Obviously, I know that these are personal reasons, and for a lot of people these wouldn't be concerns, or that these might be things that some people love and that's what draws them to Vegas. And I totally get that, but I just wanted to explain what our reasoning was, because I know there's also a lot of people that are moving to Vegas right now or are thinking about moving there, and that honestly are looking for videos like this. So if I can help people out like that and either give them just some insight into what it's like to live there or some of the concerns that we had about living there, then I hope that this helps. So yeah, honest conversation time. So number one, the whole reason that we ended up moving to Idaho when we did is just because my husband got a job here, and it just kind of all honestly worked out like perfectly. And I won't get into that in this video because I've already kind of talked about that. But that's just the number one reason why we moved here at the time that we did. It's just because this opportunity came up, and it just happened quickly. He got the job and we moved up here, and that was it. But we honestly have been looking at moving out of Vegas for probably about a year and a half now. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, honestly. For one, I know this might be dumb to some people, and some people might think that I'm crazy for this because I know it's a draw for a lot of people, but me and my husband, we just hate the weather in Vegas. I hate the summers. The heat just like drains me, and the summers go on for so long. I am someone that loves the different seasons. I love cooler weather. I love rainy weather. I love fall and winter, and I also grew up in Colorado, and so I really missed having snow and seasons that last longer than like 2 months, because in Vegas it's just a super long summer, and then you don't really get a fall, you don't really get a spring. It kind of just goes from summer to winter. And the weather is pretty mild there. In terms of winter, obviously it's super hot in the summer, but that was just a big factor for us. We wanted to live in a different climate, somewhere that we could be outside more and just enjoy the weather when it's not just scorching outside. So that was one thing for us. Another thing is just that we wanted to be, like I said, in a different climate. We wanted to be in more of the mountains. We wanted to be around more water. Again, I grew up in Colorado, and so I missed being in more of the mountains. My husband is really big into hunting and fishing, and so we wanted to be somewhere that we could do that a lot more easily. And Idaho is pretty perfect for that because there's tons of that around here. But in Vegas, there's really only like Lake Mead, and for us that was like an hour drive from our house, and the fishing just isn't great out there, and so we never went. And that's something, especially, we just had our first baby back in April, and we wanted to raise him you know, somewhere that we could be outdoors and do that kind of thing with him and share those experiences with him. And that just isn't something that's very easily accessible in Vegas. I know it's around there. Obviously, you can go to Utah, or you could go to California or Arizona or places like that. But, you know, here in Idaho, it's like a 20-minute drive out to go fishing, and it's just not like that in Vegas. So that was another big thing for us. And I know, again, obviously some people aren't going to care about that. That might not be something that they're interested in. So if that's you, then that's not a concern about living in Vegas. But for us, that was just something that we didn't like, and that's something that we wanted to find and where we did want to move, and we found that in Idaho. Another thing about Vegas is just that the schools aren't great. Honestly, Clark County schools are ranked really poorly. And again, like I said, we just had our first baby, and we've always known that we wanted to have a family. So schools were something that was just kind of on our mind. We wanted to be somewhere where the education was a little bit better. And, you know, I think I've said before, but a lot of our friends and family are teachers or have been in the school district there in Vegas. And obviously there's a lot of different options in terms of private schools or charter schools or online schools. And of course, every public school is ranked differently. Some have better strengths than others. But for us, that was just another concern. Obviously, if you are in Vegas, you have options, and you know, there's different things that you can do to help that, but that was just another factor that contributed to our desire to move. And honestly, another big thing is just that we wanted to be in an environment where people kind of shared the same beliefs as we do. Personally, we are faithful people, and in Vegas, there's just not a lot of that. That's not something that's super prevalent as much as it is here. And yeah, honestly, just beliefs-wise, we just don't have the kind of community there that we could have here. And so that was another factor that just contributed to our decision. And obviously that's something that will vary by every person and every situation. So I don't want to like sway you one way or the other if Vegas is right for you in that regard. But just for us, that's what was right for us. But yeah, honestly, those are, I think, kind of just the main reasons that we decided to leave Vegas. And honestly, on the flip side, all of those are reasons that drew us to Idaho. We kind of decided, I'd say about a year ago, that we wanted to be in Idaho, and it just didn't work out to move until this opportunity came up for us, and it happened really quickly and honestly unexpectedly, but we are loving it here in Idaho so far. We still have pretty much all of our family back in Vegas, and so we're going to be traveling back there all the time for visits and for holidays and things like that. So it's not like we're never going to come back to Vegas or anything like that. It was just for our family, living in Idaho was more of a right fit than Vegas is. But yeah, I hope that gave you guys some more insight, and just hope to shed some light on that whole situation, why we ended up leaving Vegas. And if you have any questions about any of that, or if you're curious about what living in Vegas looks like, I have a few other videos on that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below, or to connect with me on social media, or send me an email, and I would be more than happy to help you out. I know that moving is obviously a huge decision. We just went through it ourselves, so I get it, and I